It's time to jump into the luxury imports of Bowling Green, BMW, Mercedes, Sports Webb, with your host, Brian Webb. Also starring Vegas Frank and Against the Odds, brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill presents WKU Lady Tops golf coach and PGA teaching professional Adam Gary in Gary on the Green. It's The Good Fit with Jeremy Harris and Sports Webb baseball analyst Danny Hartong from First Step Orthotics. WKU Sports Analysis with Garret Browning, plus the Culver's High School Player of the Week. And all phone interviews and guests appear via the Linux of Bowling Green Hotline. Now, from ESPNKY.com, here's your host, Brian Webb.
Yeah, Sports Webb coming at you, staring at my man, G-Man, play-by-play extraordinaire. Back in the studio, man, I tell you, I miss you when you're gone.
Where am I? Where's the infield? Where's the pitching circle? What's going on here?
Yeah, you're going to be our Culver's fast pitch player of the week because we're way past regular season. We're just waiting on this thing to unfold and see who comes out victorious. I'd love to see the Lady Raiders win the state. I think they can do it. But you're going to be in a few minutes. We'll fire the intro, and you'll kind of give us a good breakdown of what's been going on. Take us back to that semi game. I listened to you call almost every inning of that. That was a great game. I mean, Katie Gardner. Well, let's save it for the later. Let's talk NBA real quick.
We'll save it.
Let's save that. Actually, the biggest story in my mind in Kentucky, and I'm throwing in there the Cats and the Cards. Biggest story, Charles Bassey coming back. And we'll visit with Frank about this later, too. But, I mean, to me, honestly, I think it's the best news that Bowling Green has gotten in years.
Shameless plug, we had Elliot Pratt, the new Hilltopper beat reporter.
Yes, congrats.
For the
Very
Daily
deserving.
News. Poor guy, he's also finishing up the prep beat right now. So
he's so busy.
And usually, we were joking about it yesterday, usually around the NBA draft, like, you don't have to worry about any Hilltopper news. If you do, it's kind of, some guys at this workout. It's usually not staying up till midnight to try and find out if some guys staying or going to the draft.
Talk about making us wait till the last second.
But, Elliot was on yesterday. It was a really good interview. Check out the podcast, Sportsline.
I didn't realize you had him on.
ESPN Radio 1027.com. But, man, you are so right. It is the biggest get for Bowling Green the last couple of seasons. And it's plain and simple. It's probably the biggest get for Rick Stansbury, even including recruiting him in the first place.
I agree, man.
Just bringing him back for year two.
It is bigger than that.
Because I think a lot of people, when he first walked in the door, just were like, man, he's gonna dominate Conference USA, which he did.
He really did.
And I think people thought when he did that, he was going to for sure be a late first round projection.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, I was too. And that just... His game's not necessarily built for the NBA immediately.
Immediately.
He would be one of those draft picks that you stow away for a year or two, and then you're like, man, I forgot about that guy, and he's out on a court hooping. But another year will do him a lot of good, and it's going to do the Hilltoppers a lot of good too.
Man, if we don't come away with a conference championship this year.
Well, Stansbury's rosters have always been in flux. Last year was kind of the first year where it wasn't. You had some stability, Lamonte and Tavion and Josh Anderson. You still had some new guys with Savage and company.
Yeah.
This year, more than any other year, this is the most consistent roster we're going to see from the spring to the fall,
I totally
in my opinion.
agree with you.
We do have some transfers, but they're guys that didn't necessarily provide big minutes throughout the season.
Yeah, that's right.
They provided minutes, but not necessarily to the quality you would have liked. I love Mustafa John. I hate to see him go.
I was getting ready to say, I do too.
I love that he's going to get an opportunity somewhere else. I don't think Jake Omer announced if he was going anywhere else yet or not, but we wish him the best. But
sure.
Hilltopper,
Scott County, great.
Hilltopper roster, it's hot.
It's super hot. And before we move on to the next subject, I want to ask you a question and get Garret Browning's thoughts on this. You're listening to Sports Web. Listen, I wanted to ask you, now what do we need to do different with Bassey this year? Let's say he puts on some pounds. Be eating, big boy. Grab that extra steak if you can. But let's say we bulk him up. He gets better with his hands. He gets, there's things that he's young, man. He's young. So for him to be as good as he is amazing to me. But what do we need to do to tweak Charles Bassey?
Man, I wouldn't tweak a thing. I would just tell him to keep working on what he's working on and getting better, because he really doesn't have just a shining weakness. Maybe
he doesn't.
In the NBA, you
right.
could say defensively he's a little smaller, but to be honest, at Western, he doesn't have any type of, height disadvantage when he's playing most teams.
No.
Maybe when he goes up against UNC in the Final Four or something, there's going to be a 7-1 guy that's going to be a bit of a matchup problem. But anybody else in Conference USA, he's going to be the best big man they see all year, and maybe including some of their non-conference opponents. I mean, he's All-American caliber, and the Hilltopper focus this year just needs to be figuring out a way to have a more consistent offense and getting Bassey all the touches he needs in the post.
I agree. That's the main.
If he's not
main
shooting,
thing.
if he's not shooting, 10 times a game, that's whatever. But it's how many times did he touch the ball in the post? And
because when he does touch it, Garrett, that opens up guys on the corner. That opens up.
Well, the
lane,
double team's coming.
Dish. I mean, there's
nobody.
You know he's going to draw it.
Nobody in the conference is going to stop him 1-to-1 back to the basket.
To
in
me,
the
that
post.
makes the Tops
you have
almost
to have
unstoppable because you can't.
Well, this is exactly what we did last year, though. We were ready to crown them. We are who they thought we were, and we crowned them. We let them off the hook. That's how I finished the sports line yesterday. But I just don't want to crown this top team too early like we did last year.
I was all over it. I was the worst about it.
I get the hype because I want to be hyped too. I was ready for all the hype too.
So you're saying this year, let's lay back in the weeds, kind of watch it.
Let's lay back in the weeds. Let people think that we're overrated.
We're down on it.
Everybody kind of thinks we're overrated. They got all these dudes, but they can't win. That's fine. Let them think that.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna commit.
Like that lion in the grass, just watching that gazelle.
Exactly.
The gazelle is the rest of Conference USA.
The gazelle will attack.
They think it's free reign. They're like, oh, nobody's at the top. It's wide open. The tops, they can't handle it.
It's this crapshoot. No,
not this year.
We'll come out of there like a boa constrictor and just it's over. They just wrap around you about 7 times or do a gator roll on somebody. Let's do a gator roll on ODU. That's who I want to get the most.
Hey, I don't give a about ODU, and you know this.
Beep. We got Danny Hartung coming up after the break, but before that, we're going to jump in to the Culvers. But to tease the rest of the show, Vegas Frank's coming on. We'll find out what he's got to say about Charles Bassey. We're going to talk some NBA also a little bit here and talk a little bit about that with Garrett. Man, what have you seen? Did you watch Game 2?
Oh, yeah. I've been watching all the NBA Finals games.
Same here.
Ready for Game 3. Oh, man, I really thought the Raptors were going to go up 2-0, but
I did too.
Those Warriors, they're championship bred.
You can't.
They've been there before.
I'm sure Frank will bring this up too, but you cannot go 4.5 minutes without a bucket and beat the Warriors, man. No. I don't care who's healthy.
Well, especially in, not just the second half, but the fourth quarter, it's not going to work.
It was terrible. And does Kawhi Leonard look 100% to you?
He's one of those guys, almost like Steph Curry, like when he runs around with the ball or without the ball, it doesn't look like they're ever moving full speed.
It doesn't. It's the weirdest thing
Steph
ever.
Curry, he's coming off screens. It looks like he's going 70%. And you're like, how can they not catch him? And, TV just not doing it justice, I guess.
Yet it's not.
I kind of think that's Kawhi's deal. He always has a sluggish look to him. Like his game,
he does. It looks in slow motion.
It's proper, it's technique, but it's kind of he's got great athletic ability too, but he looks sluggish. Sometimes
he's got a beef with Nike, and Frank and I'll talk about that later. But
New Balance on the rise.
And New Balance?
No, New Balance is his rep. That's his squad rep.
That I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense for him to be upset about the logo thing. We'll visit that later. But I wanted to get any chance the Raptors take this finals? I mean, I think they can. I mean, I think it's anybody's game right now.
Absolutely.
Boogie Cousins is a big X factor.
100% think the Raptors can take this series still.
Especially if Klay Thompson's not healthy.
What's funny is all the regular season storylines about why this Warriors team are supposed to lose, they've kind of fallen to the wayside. This whole the team's in flux. Durant wants out, and of course Durant's hurt, so that's part of the reason all that's quieted down.
Could be back though, Game 3.
But this is still a team that struggled with good opponents throughout the year at Oracle. Yeah, they're a great team at Oracle in the playoffs, but in the finals, they've been known to give up a game or two. Game 7. It happens. So I think the Raptors definitely have that chance, and it helps with Boris Siakam's brother out there.
That's good stuff. I wish we had more. It is cool. I love that Siakam. And he was over here at Greenwood Ford. I don't know if he's still there or not. The luxury imports of Bowling Green Sports Webb tonight there. A little slip. But we're going to talk real quick about some Culver's High School softball.
It's time for Culver's High School Baseball or Softball Player of the Week. Welcome to Delicious. Visit Culver's, Scottsville Road, locally owned and operated. Culver's of Bowling Green, Kentucky, 4903 Scottsville Road, Bowling Green, home of the flavor of the day. And now, your High School Player of the Week.
Garrett, I mean, you've been enjoying. First of all, I've been enjoying listening to you make ladies softball sound so good. But what a game you saw the other night, and tease us on who's coming up for these Lady Raiders.
Well, first, I got to say, I don't make ladies softball sound good. It just is fun to watch.
No, it is fun to watch.
It's incredible to watch. I honestly never really had watched softball until probably 2 years ago. I got to work a couple WKU softball games.
Yeah,
and
fast pitch is where it's at.
It sucks you
so
in.
good. It does,
I like
man.
baseball, but
it's that short field and that fastness. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it definitely is what it is. It's a great game to watch. And Warren East, man, if you haven't kept up with them this year, they are on a tear. Probably
Patterson, Sparks.
Been ranked as the second team in the coaches poll basically throughout the season, only behind Mail, who's undefeated
dominant.
And actually is ranked top 5 in the country according to Max Preps and their softball rankings the last time I saw. So they wouldn't meet Mail till the championship game on Sunday. They got to win 2 games before that. So, don't have to worry about them. You got to worry about 2 other teams. It'll be Ashland Blazer this Friday. I believe it's a 1 o'clock local, so 12 o'clock first pitch here.
Yeah,
in,
I saw that.
Bowling Green. So,
well, how far? Honestly, right now, let's say they get by Ashland. You think they can win this thing?
Oh, absolutely. 33-2, I believe, might be 34-2.
Amazing,
if I remember correctly.
Unbelievable.
But their 2 losses are to 2 teams
South
that are top
Warren
15 in the state, South Warren and Mail, and they came back and beat South Warren in the region championship game. Central Hardin was their other loss.
Yeah, Central Hardin, yeah.
And that is who they would most likely see in the semifinals, which would be on Saturday.
We were talking about that
if they win Ashland Blazers. So
Go Lady Raiders!
They've got a great chance, and the big thing is when you get to postseason play, it's all about that
anything
pitching.
Can happen. And they got some solid pitching in Katie Gardner, my player of the year last year.
The leading strikeout.
It's amazing.
Pitcher
and 2 dingers the other
in the
night.
state of Kentucky.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come back and talk some more hardball, but it's going to be baseball. We're going to get Danny Hartung, who made his big appearance on the Redlegs the other day. Did a great job. Hope they don't try. They better send me a check if they're going to try to get him in there all the time.
When I went on the Redlegs, all I did was complain that they didn't have robotic umpires for strike calls. I'm sure Danny's analysis was much more in depth.
I can't wait to
baseball.
hear what he's got to say. And I had something else to bring. Oh yeah, it's the draft tonight, so that's another good thing. We'll see what he's talking about. Or was it last night?
It was last night was the first round.
Yeah,
today
first round
it
was
continues,
last night.
And we've got breaking Hilltopper news.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead and drop that, or you want to wait for Danny?
Let's bury the lead. Let's get it in the next break.
That sounds good, brother. You're listening to the Sports Web here, brought to you by Luxury Imports of Bowling Green. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back with Danny Hartung, our MLB guy from First Step Prosthetics Orthotics, ESPN 102.7.
Sometimes the final step from overcoming an injury is taking the actual first step. I'm Danny Hartung with First Step Orthotics and Prosthetics. My partner, Jeremy Harris, and I have over 60 years' experience here in Southern Kentucky. Experience we put to work every day. Working with the latest orthotic and prosthetic technologies, we form a custom plan based entirely around you to get you to take the first step, whatever that may be for you.
First Step Orthotics for the first step and every step after in Bowling Green on the 31W bypass by Batteries Plus.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One of the first things clients ask me is, what is my case worth? It depends on the injury, liability, and damages. And in most cases, it depends on the lawyer you hire. All lawyers are not the same. I would like to invite you to visit forthepeople.com to see what your case might be worth. You will see injuries like yours, offers made by the insurance company, and verdicts made by juries. We try more cases than any firm in America every year. Insurance companies know which law firms try cases and which firms settle cheap. Your case value is different in the hands of different lawyers. There was only one Babe Ruth, and then hundreds and hundreds of minor league players. I've been around now a long time, fought countless battles. We are fighters who take on giants. In some cases, you hired your lawyer without doing your research, and you can just as quickly fire them if you now think you made a mistake. You only get one swing at the plate. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Offices, Bowling Green.
Yeah, welcome on back. First Step Prosthetics Orthotics 31W there, right next to Batteries Plus. Doesn't only hold two geniuses in their field, but it holds one Major League Baseball genius. Danny Hartung, man, good to have you on the Line X hotline.
I feel so powerful behind a Morgan & Morgan commercial, man. I tell you what, man, that is awesome, man. What an intro for that.
For the people. Oh, yeah, we forgot to fire your intro, dude. I'm so sorry. We did forget that.
No, it's all right. I get that swing at the plate just like Morgan & Morgan, buddy.
Well, we're getting ready to drop a bomb here on you, and I don't know if you heard this yet or not, but and I'm going to read his tweet that he tweeted out here a few minutes ago. But, Garrett, what do you got for us, man, coming out of WKU baseball?
Just after the first 100 picks in the MLB draft, Jake Sanford off the board in round number 3 to the New York Yankees.
Boom.
Ooh. They love them sluggers. They love the sluggers.
Here's a quick.
You gotta love it.
Go ahead,
sorry.
Dan.
Go ahead, Garrett. I'm sorry.
No, that's me. I just wanted to read his tweet today. I am privileged to say that I've been selected by the New York Yankees in the third round of this year's MLB draft. This is just the beginning at Yankees. Yeah, man, what a great – I mean, we've been talking about that kid. How could you not know about him for what he done this year, Danny? But, I mean, like you said, the Yankees, they love those sluggers, don't they?
That's fantastic. Congratulations to that young man. I have great hopes for him, and I think he won't be down in the minors very long, boy. I tell you what, they love to have those new bangers and poppers come up, and they do it quick. I mean, look what they've worked with all so far this year. I mean, with everyone going down, Judge and everybody else, Didi Gregorius, everybody else, they've got these fill-in guys, and these guys are still winning baseball games. They're leading the AL East. With the only one on their tail right now is Tampa Bay Rays, and it's they're doing something right over there, and Cashman's a genius anymore with Ursula, filling in, and LeMahieu's bombing the ball, and they've just done a really good job there. It's just wonderful to watch.
Danny, back. Oh, helps if I turn back the microphone, Danny, so you can hear me. But yesterday, the MLB draft started. The first overall pick, I'll try not to butcher the name, Adley Rushman, I believe, a catcher from Oregon State. Now, the only reason I bring him up is I don't know if you've seen this video. It just popped up on my timeline. He was walked with the bases loaded and nobody out just a week ago in the NCAA tournament.
That kid's a switch-hitting monster.
That's crazy.
The only downside on that kid is he's not real fast to first base. But otherwise, the kid can hit a bomb, a lot of power in both left or right. Throw anybody out. They said he's the best catcher drafted in the last 40 years. And you're talking about Buster Posey, Mike Piazza, all those guys. They said as far as many tools as this kid has, he's the best catcher going in the first round in, I don't know, like I said, 40 years. And they got big hopes for this kid for Baltimore. The draft had 6 positional players. The first 6 players were all positional players till the Cincinnati Reds took a big left-hander kid out of TCU, Nick Lobolo, I believe his name is, and he's a hard-throwing lefty. But that kid out of Rushman out of Oregon State is a beast. So they should be very happy with grabbing him because they weren't sure if they were going to go first or not.
All right, so I got to get my weekly Rays question in, especially because I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. So I definitely got to badger you about the Tampa Bay Rays. They've bounced a little bit back in the AL East, not too much. Of course, the Yankees have gotten really red hot. who in the AL do you think has the best chance of sustaining it into September between the Minnesota Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays? I believe the Twins are at the top of their division right now, though.
I was going to just bring that up, buddy. Twins are going into Cleveland tonight. They're already up on Cleveland by 11.5.
Wow.
If they take 2 out of 3, I think the Central will be over by the end of July. I really do. Twins are playing that hot. Their pitching's that good, and they're bombing the ball. They're hitting the ball like crazy. They're that savvy. Their bullpen's fabulous. I love that squad, and Odorizzi, I bet the Rays are kicking themselves for trading him. he is pitching so well. He just put a gem on them the other night too. But the Rays aren't going anywhere. I'll tell you what. I see Boston flailing before the Rays do, personally.
And I guess it was probably the last time I was on, I brought up Vlad Guerrero Jr. to you. I think he had just started kind of slow, and you said just give him a little time, and all of a sudden he just starts mashing the ball. Of course,
he's got to go through some of that. He's got to go through the first line of pitchers first. They all do, but he's such a quick study. He'll catch on that quick, and he adapts very quickly. And now he's raking the ball really well. But, Toronto's not going anywhere, and it's a sad situation up there because they got all those juniors up there like Biggio's kid and Dante Bichette's kid and Vlad's kid. And I think they were going – and they have Paul Pointros's kid up there as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of juniors up there, but you wait a few years for that squad, and they're gonna be attending AL East after September parties down there. So, but they always say, parades are better than having just a nice little
congrats on the first hit.
Yeah. Just for guys coming up, but parades are always better. So,
Dodgers, Yankees, Collision Course World Series.
Yeah.
Is it a safe bet?
Not if the Twins have anything to say about it.
Nah, exactly. I tell you what, Dodgers, I can think pretty good, but I think Houston's going to have a big,
Don't
say
forget
about that.
Houston.
Houston's playing so good. They really are. Verlander's pitching good. Garrett Cole's pitching good. Brad Peacock's pitching well. Wade Miley's pitching well. There's as soon as they get healthy, be careful because you got to remember Correa's out, Altuve's out, Springer's out. And they're still winning ball games and not winning. They're winning by sizable margins, which is scary.
We've got Danny the Limb on the Line X hotline. We're going to wrap it up real quick here, but I think Garrett has a final thought for you. And first of all, before I go, because I'm going to close this out and go to break here in a second after Garrett makes his point, but great job on the Red Leg Saturday. Listen to the whole
thanks,
thing.
Buddy. That was fun.
Oh, you did. You killed it.
Jason and Todd were good fun, and they were.
Aren't they the best?
They were a lot of fun, and they have an agenda. They definitely do.
They do, man. It's like clockwork. It's like going to the bank.
They got the Reds hookup, too. We need that plug, whoever it is in their phone. He's got like
That's Brenneman.
He's got a burner phone for all the Reds contacts.
I think that's Brenneman.
Yeah, we got to talk to Tommy Thrall, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
That guy is smooth as the finest bourbon there is in Kentucky, man.
Yeah, he's like
that
Knob
guy
Creek.
is smooth.
That's like Knob Creek. You got anything else? We're gonna take a quick one here. You got one more for Danny?
No, I'm good, buddy. I apologize I couldn't be in studio.
Oh no,
tonight,
it's all right. We know how it is when you get called up to the big leagues. Is us AAA guys.
I got member guests and Dan's making me clean the house. So.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, we'll see you next Tuesday when we get the band back together, more than likely. All right.
See you, David.
Love you guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, love you, Lim. Appreciate it. Take a look over there at First Step Prosthetics Orthotics. We got Vegas Frank coming up. Brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. You're listening to the Luxury Imports of Bowling Green, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Sports Webb, Garret Browning, Brian Webb. We'll be right back after these messages. ESPN 102.7.
Join Jason and Todd Saturdays on the Red Legs Radio.
Hello, Vegas. Give me $100 on red.
Go! $200 in chips, please.
Are you a professional?
That's your bet, sir. Bet. Hit me.
It's a bust.
Whoa! I am on fire.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
You're a winner!
Against the Odds with Vegas Frank is brought to you by JBK Network Consulting. JBK Network Consulting. We are IP everything. Working with complex organizations to achieve measurable business outcomes is what we do. Let Jim Grant and JBK Network Consulting go to work for you. Call 270-796-8935. Visit JBK Network Consulting at 1143 Fairway Place, Suite 105, and online at jbk.net.
You heard it right there, folks. Time for Vegas Frank and Against the Odds, all the way from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Brian Webb here, your host of the Sports Web on the Linex hotline. Linex Bedliners, Roger Gina over there, Louisville Road. Porter Pike, get over there, take care of that truck, and get in the sports book and lay some bets, because this man's going to tell you who to put it on. What's up, Vegas Frank?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not bad. They're doing good. Well, I mean, I'm great because Charles Bassey's coming back to WKU. So
that's big time. I mean, we're sort of waiting to see what was going to happen with that. It seemed like the 11th hour almost.
It was.
Before he was going to officially declare or not. And he's coming back. You know, you mix in that recruiting class they've got coming in next year. Could be something really special for the Tops next year.
I think it will be. I think it's like having Anthony Davis in there. But the cool thing about it is it gives him another year to work on his game. He's going to be better. And, I mean, you know, when you say better, I mean, Conference USA Freshman of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, one of 5 national finalists for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Center of the Year award. I mean, that just to name a couple. I mean, he did tons more than that, but I mean, just blocks and all. But, I mean, he's going to get stronger. He's going to get bigger. And then probably next year he's going to go in the draft. But I'm just glad that I used reverse psychology on him. You know, I was like, man, you know, you're never going to come back. We're not going to get him back. I was just getting myself ready for just in case. But it was really, because you know how I am. That's why they call me Mush. And when I say anything, when I deal in absolutes, Frank, we know what to do. We go the other way.
Well, I appreciate all of your psychology in dealing with this, because it seems like it's paid off. I need to know what you think for some of these fights this weekend coming up so I can go and bet the other side.
Well, listen, if I'm in the fight, you know to bet the other side, because I can barely get out of the recliner these days. But hey, no, you're right. Speaking of fights, you had one this weekend in Sin City, didn't you?
Well, it didn't take place in Sin City, but it had big ramifications for things going on here in town. Ruiz Jr., last-minute replacement, taking on Anthony Joshua over the weekend. It really caught people off guard. When I woke up Sunday morning, I didn't realize that this fight had taken place, and I didn't realize that this was real. I had to do some research to make sure that Ruiz had actually won this fight. But if you were shopping the number around earlier in the week, if you go down by Musburger's place over there, South Point, down the south end of the Strip, you could have gotten 12-1 odds on Ruiz. And,
wow.
Even the layman, the guy walking around just looking to put down a $20 all the way up to $100 bet, he likes to add that zero to the end of his number there to get back in return. So there was quite a substantial. I mean, Vegas didn't take a huge loss or anything. It's not like somebody loading up on Douglas against Tyson or something like that. But it was significant. I mean, that's a significant loss. And where Joshua goes from here, I don't know. But Ruiz is going to have to fight like a Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. And I don't like those chances.
I tell you, boxing and just MMA in general, I love them both. You know, I mean, my son, my oldest, he's like, man, I love to watch boxing. He's like, but you gotta pay to see it. You know, it's not just on. You know, and he's right. When I was young, man, you know, HBO had definitely a higher level of competition, but you could see, you know, there was boxing magazines. You could stay up to date on boxing without the internet back then. I mean, that's how popular that sport was. And, you know, it went away, you know, and I mean, it's still around, but it's not the same, is it?
No, it's not, and a lot of that is that they're kind of like their own cannibalism for the sport, because they develop so many different federations, and there's so much corruption within boxing as far as them kind of eating themselves. And they're not to name their own fighter because they want to have their own federation. I can't really tell you what 3 divisions or conferences he's representing, but Ruiz has 3 belts. I don't really know what the 3 are, but he's not a unified champion for all the different conferences and federations, but he does have 3 belts. But again, we don't really know how boxing is going to break down going forward. There's got to be some clarity, but really none of these federations really want to budge. So we're going to continue to get confusion, and then we're going to get corruption.
Man, and it's unfortunate because, let's take the Nevada Gaming Commission, for instance. I mean, Las Vegas, it's full of machines. I mean, you can't walk in Smith's or Albertsons. And you better go in and get your groceries before you stop at the machine. I've seen that happen with my own eyes. I think it actually happened to me once. But, it's one of those things where when things are, regulated, obviously the product that comes out is much cleaner. And I just think it was so much non-regulation in the beginning, and there's just, like you said, there's so many federations. I mean, who's going to be watching who? Who's watching? The left hand can't watch the right hand. You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. There's got to be more clarification. I don't know how they provide like a more uniform pattern for what they're going to follow as far as regulations, state by state. Why do the rules differ that much for Nevada that they would in New Jersey? It's got to be benefiting someone is why they would be tinkering with the rules. But the rules should be the rules right across the board.
Universal, yeah. I agree, Frank. And did you mention that you had a fight coming up too?
Well, I personally don't have a fight, but there's some UFC fights coming. Well, I don't know. Let's see how
you don't know that you don't have a fight.
I might have a fight this weekend.
You possibly could when you leave the house. You never know.
You never know, depending on how these drivers go. We have UFC this weekend, UFC 238. Henry Cejudo is going to be taking on Marlon Moraes. This is basically going to be for T.J. Dillashaw's bantamweight championship that he vacated. Earlier, you remember that T.J. Dillashaw lost to Cejudo earlier in the year. He lost his flyweight championship. He vacated the title because he had failed a drug test. So this is going to be for the vacant title. We're also going to get a women's fight. Jessica Evil Eyes be taking Bullet Valentina Shevchenko. Love to watch her fight. And she's like her and Jacek. I mean, they throw like a ridiculous amount of punches in a short amount of time. It's always fun. But on the undercard, the fight I'm most excited for, Tony Ferguson is going to be fighting Cowboy Cerrone. I'm excited for that fight. I think that's going to be great. It's going to be a lightweight fight.
Man, I love it. You're getting me excited. A guy that lost his fight with Alex Trebek, Las Vegas there.
James Holzhauser.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name because it's so. But he's like you. He's a better, isn't he?
He's a handicapper. I mean, depending on who you talk to. I mean, he's been blacklisted from a few places in town.
Well, that means he's good at it.
He's been doing well for himself. They don't kick you out for losing. So
Las Vegas, a town for losers.
Yeah, he's done pretty well for himself. So you've asked certain people. I know a guy that does know him pretty well.
Oh, that's cool.
And he says that he is basically retired.
Wow.
He's 30-something. He's basically retired. Mm-hmm. Last year, he donated, this is prior to Ginny Jeopardy stuff. Last year, he donated $100,000 to the Nevada libraries.
Man.
The Nevada libraries here in town.
That's when you know you're doing well at the tables or the sports book. When you've got money just to burn. I mean, that's not burning it. That's not burning
$100,000.
That's
right,
not.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, money to just do what you want to with, if you will. That's definitely. Anytime you give to a charity or show your philanthropy nature or any kind of magnanimous gesture, I think that is a wonderful thing. I'm not in the position to do that as much, but you know how I was in Vegas, Frank. You know how many less fortunate were around, and they all knew my name. I shoed many of them and clothed many of them over the years, and that was my way to give back. So everybody's got their. That's just it. You don't have to have millions of dollars to make a difference, Frank.
No, you're absolutely right, and I mean, I think it speaks more to this guy because from the people that I've talked to that know him. Have said that he's a class act. That he's a really good guy. He's genuine.
Man,
he's the real deal. So that's a good thing for him. And it was fun to watch him because he's really robotic. I started thinking questions to myself when he was responding, and it's like I have no idea what this guy's talking about. His range of just knowledge on things is just like unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. And let's just work on. We'll get him on the show coming up here in a few weeks or something. That'd be cool. Man, I tell you, first of all, we're going to roll into the NBA a little bit here. I don't know, man. I was thinking the Raptors maybe would, go ahead and get a game 2 under their belt going into Oakland with, a little bit of a cushion, but didn't work out. They went, you can't go 4.5, 5 minutes without a bucket, Frank, and expect to be in this one against the Golden State Warriors. I don't care what Golden State Warriors team you're getting.
No, and basically going into the end of the first half, start of the second, I think that the Warriors had it was like a 20 to nothing run. I think they started the third quarter to 18-0 run. You can't let a team go on a run like that. You certainly can't let the Warriors go on a run like that. And the Raptors weren't knocking down shots. They're putting up a lot of shots. They weren't knocking down shots. It's the efficiency of the Warriors that makes them so dangerous. This is a statistic that just keeps pounding me in the head. Okay, the Warriors in the second half of Game 2 made 22 field goals on 22 assists.
Wow.
If that's not efficient, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more efficient than that.
It's ridiculous because the Raptors had the fast break option, the fast break points. They had the advantage. They had the advantage in second chance points. They were, basically they're in the position to have putbacks. They had all those things worked out for the Warriors. The Raptors just ended up flat for 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes in the third quarter, and it killed them. It killed them. It's a huge loss, and this loss ultimately is what's going to bite them, I think, in the end. When we were talking about the end of this series in another week or so, that I think that was the game that they're going to wish that they had back.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking similar thoughts the other night watching that one, and it was kind of a letdown for me. I mean, I almost turned the game off at the fourth quarter. I was just like, I don't even want to watch it. I mean, it was, and then now you got, you don't want distractions during the finals, but and this is probably something that's been coming for a long time, but now it's in the news. Kawhi Leonard upset at Nike over the claw logo, right?
Yeah, he's going to have I don't know if he's threatening a lawsuit or I don't know how you sue.
He filed it.
Yeah, he filed a lawsuit as a trademark basically for this logo that he had designed that they were using for his claw logo brand within Nike that he said he designed when he was a rookie and that he's not receiving, the royalties or the acknowledgement for it. There's got to be some type of thing figured out. I believe that they will end up figuring it out. Especially he makes this transition to Los Angeles. If he ends up going to the Clippers or something, much more visible market than in Toronto. I think that it'll get settled. I think Nike's going to figure this out. You don't want to have a guy suing you. Think about this. LeBron is going to be, the next couple of years is going to be inactive. Kawhi is just now hitting his prime.
Yeah, true.
So you want to have that guy, under contract. You want to have that guy happy. So I think that they'll end up figuring something out. Not a lot of people can use the moniker or the nickname, the Claw. Yeah. I mean, the guy's hands.
It's crazy.
They look like catcher's mitts.
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
I like watching Kawhi Leonard play. I mean, he's just, I don't know, he's mysterious out there. You don't know what you're getting half the time, and I don't know. But I'll tell you, there's been some. I told you the other day, if there's going to be an X factor in this one, it's going to be Boogie Cousins, and we saw that happen the other night. I mean, nobody was on that wagon, and everybody was, Boogie Cousins, he didn't do anything. I'll tell you what, man, rebounds and assists. I mean, he scored some points, but I feel like he was the glue the other night that kept it all together.
Boogie was a big contributor. I mean, a role player like Quinn Cook. I mean, he made some big shots down the stretch. Iguodala. This Warriors team is giving the Raptors every opportunity to be in this series. They're injured all over the place. We don't know if Clay's going to play tomorrow night. We're still not sure if Durant is going to play. Iguodala obviously looks a little banged up. Looney is out now for the series, is what it appears, because of the shoulder injury separation, whatever they're calling it. So, I mean, the Raptors have opportunities. If they're not going to steal a game in Golden State, soon, tomorrow or Friday, this could be over in a hurry.
It could be. It really could be. I guess good for the Warriors that they stole one away. I mean, that gives them a little bit of a breathing area. But we'll see if KD comes back. I mean, that's going to make a difference, especially if Klay Thompson's not playing. It's going to take everybody playing their heart out to beat the Raptors. Raptors are good. I think we're going to see a better Game 3, more competitive game.
I tend to agree with you. I think that the Raptors, they get away from the home surroundings. They played well on the road. They're able to win games in Milwaukee. They're able to win road games all year. Remember, this is a team that won in Golden State in the regular season. You know, that was without Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true.
there's definitely a possibility for them to win this game. They've got to start out, I think, hot. They can't do this 6-minute stretch or 5-minute stretch of not making a basket. You'll get killed and they'll lose by 30. They can't do that.
No,
they've got to start out hot. They got to be efficient from the get-go.
You're listening to Vegas Frank on 102.7 ESPN Kentucky. Brian Webb here talking to the man, the myth, the legend. Hey, we're going to close it up, but I think you had another little snidbit you wanted to drop on the listeners here, but it's got to be getting hot out there, Frank. It's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot. Soon we won't be able to go outside. Everybody will be complaining about going outside after 10 a.m. It'll feel like an oven.
Yes.
Give it another cup. We haven't had a 100-degree day yet.
Oh, really? I can't believe that. It's June. I cannot believe it. That's good because normally, man, in June you're already 104, 105 every day.
Yeah, not yet. By next week, I think middle of next week, we'll have about 100, 102, something like that. But really quick, I want to mention Adam Humphries, free agent signing, big free agent addition for the Titans. He mentioned in his free agency pursuits that he was hesitant to sign with the Patriots because he's concerned about Tom Brady's age. I don't think I'd be concerned about his age.
I don't think so, man. First of all, he doesn't have the same blood as us. He can one-ups Charlie Sheen on actual blood flowing through. But Humphries, he's the one that I feel like he needs to think about his body. I mean, that guy, he's taken a beating, especially the last few years. But he still got. I'm glad we got him. But I mean, I don't know that. Isn't it more? The Patriots are looking at you in that scenario. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I think that's more of a like an audition for you to play for New England.
Yeah.
I don't think you walk in the Foxborough and you say, you know what, I want to play here.
That is totally. I mean, that's exactly the way I see that. But I mean, I don't know. Hey, hats off to his ego. I mean, I hope he shows up down there and gives Mariota some great targets across the middle. They've been missing that. That's going to help them get some first downs. He's going to really help them move the ball. I think. I started to say it wrong. Matriculate the ball down the field.
That's right. Yep, he's going to matriculate and matriculate.
And arithmetic and all that stuff that's over my head. Hey, Frank, always a pleasure, man. Good luck at the window in Las Vegas this week. I know you'll do well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good talking to you.
Same here. Be right back. Sports Webb, ESPN 102.7.
You're playing golf and you're going to like it.
Time to go home there, boss. I can make it across. Well, then do it.
We got all of that.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Knock it on. Let her rip.
Who's in the hole? By the way, what did Mr. Webb shoot this morning?
It's time for Gary on the Green. Gary on the Green is brought to you by Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill on Old Louisville Road and online at bowlinggreenfireplace.com. Call 270-495-1131.
Gary on the Green right here on the LineX Online. Got Adam Gary, golf coach, WKU Lady Hilltoppers, PGA teaching pro. What's up, man?
Not much. Just getting ready for a big day of golf lessons today. I've got quite a few I'm trying to catch up on since I've been out of town a little bit, but hopefully the rain will hold off and I can get those in.
Yeah, I hope you do, because somebody needs that knowledge that Adam Gary obtains and likes to deliver on to young pupils or older guys like me, so that's pretty good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about, first of all, like you were saying off air about Cantley. I mean, he did all right, didn't he?
Yeah, that's, I think, a really big win, beating Martin Keimer and Adam Scott down the stretch, shooting a 64 the final round at the Jack's tournament at the Memorial. That's, I think, the tournament record for the final round. So, as with his story, I don't know if you're familiar with his story and everything he's gone through. He had a broken back and had to sit out for 3 years, and then while he was rehabbing his injury, he was walking down the street with his best friend, and he was hit by a car and killed, and he's had a tough go. So I was really glad to see him get a win on tour, and I'm telling you, he's moved to the top 10 in the world. He might be a President's Cup, Ryder Cupper for the U.S. here coming up the next couple of years.
There you go. Good for him. I saw Tiger didn't play his best through the week, but, finished strong, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He finished ninth. Really had it go in the final round before bogeying 3 holes coming back in, but he got it to double digits under par. But Cantley and Adam Scott were so far ahead. I don't think he could really catch up. But hey, another top 10 coming into a major at Pebble, and we all know he likes Pebble Beach. So maybe good things for Tiger again.
I love Pebble. Have you got to play Pebble?
I have not. I've been there and walked it some, but I've not been able to play it.
That's like going to the buffet, and you still need like $1.80 to get the buffet, and you just watch everybody else eat.
Yeah, it's kind of cruel. The green fee's a little high. I was in college when I
would say so. Yeah,
it was like $600 or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
Does that even include your looper? I mean, I think that's minus.
I don't even know. I didn't
looper.
get that far.
Oh my goodness! I would love to have caddied at Pebble Beach for a living. That would have been awesome, man. Free golf. Oh, sweet. Well, I mean, before we get into some golf tips, let's talk a little bit about the U.S. Open coming up. First of all, I want to bring up this young man, Preston Summerhays, and I don't know. We were talking off air about this kid. I'm not sure if he's part of the Summerhays family, but you almost think he's got to be. But I think he's a Utah kid and going to be played his way into 16 years old. Played his way into the Utah Championship Web.com later on this month, I believe. June 27th through the 30th. So that's pretty cool. Anytime, I mean, one of the youngest, there's been a couple 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds play in some events, but very few to make any kind of PGA Tour event. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. These younger players are more and more ready, and you're seeing it in college where I am now too, with the level of training and the knowledge that's out there, and just access to YouTube and videos and Golf Channel, all of it, really.
It's good, though.
So I think it's really helping these junior golfers become great players at a younger age. So good for him. I hope he plays well in the tournament.
And, we're lucky to have one of these prodigies right here pretty much out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, a little Glasgow tie, too, but Cannon Claycomb, man, I think we'll see him playing on Sundays in 4 or 5 years. I'll be honest with you.
That's right. Yeah, he played in the U.S. Open qualifier yesterday. He made it out of the local and was in the sectionals.
Very good.
I don't think he got into the U.S. Open, but he was playing down in Streamsong. I saw he's one of the top 10 in his age in the country. So he signed with the University of Alabama. I think some really big things are to come from him too.
Man, we do have a Kentucky guy that's made it, I believe. I'm not sure if he's already made it to Pebble, but. He's a Manchester kid. His name is Chip McDaniel. Do you know him?
Yeah, he played at the University of Kentucky. He takes golf lessons from a friend of mine up in Louisville. So I saw that too yesterday on his social media. I'm really excited to have another guy from Kentucky qualify for the Open. The more representation we can get out there, the better. So
it's a good weekend.
He also Mondayed into the Barbasol. He played in the tour event that was here in Kentucky last year.
There you go. And I was going to say, if your name's McDaniel or McDaniels, it was a good weekend for you in the golf.
That's right. How about Dawson winning the Walker Memorial?
No, man, it's a 6 under. 6 under, a little tougher this year. Last year, I think 11 under won it. But, yeah, man, hats off to him. I mean, he's good. One of those WKU golfers kind of under the radar a little bit, and that's pretty cool. I know his dad, and dad, good guy. So, nice, man. Hats off to him. Speaking of, we're going to talk a little. That brings me to our golf tip today. Small greens like at Walker, where you can hit you can bomb a driver, and you're looking good, like I'm going to make birdie, but those greens are so small and so quick. How do you approach? Nobody's going to know better than how to approach Walker than Adam Gary. How do you approach those greens? You got to hit short on every one of them, or what? Adam?
Well, I think what I see is, and I'll shoot the yardage, and if they get 145, they'll hit their 145 club, and not really pay attention to where the pin is. I think the big thing that you need to do is know what you are front, what you are to the back, and then what the pin is, and that can kind of help you.
Well, I like it, and we're having some technical difficulties, so we're probably going to we're finishing up.
It bounces over.
We're finishing up anyways, but Adam, we heard some of that, and it was good knowledge. You got to really know where the pins are at Walker.
and you got to play it as is, especially in the summertime when it's dry. Adam, Gary, always a pleasure, man. All right, we'll be right back on the Sports Web, ESPN 102.7.